What's up y'all, BK back here with another instructional video. Now this is one of those shots that I get a lot of questions about from all my clients that I coach. It is one of the #1 shots that people want to learn, probably because it was made famous by one Ben Johns himself. So this is a shot that a lot of people are going to want to have in the arsenal, especially at the kitchen where you're trying to be more aggressive. So without further ado, let's learn how to hit the backhand flick. Let's do it. Now the backhand flick is a shot that you're going to use primarily at the kitchen where you're trying to be more aggressive, taking balls out of the air and attacking them at your opponent. This is a shot that's going to help you generate some pace and some topspin while taking balls out of the air to surprise your opponent with attacks that they don't see coming. We're going to dive into all the mechanics for this shot, what to do, what not to do, so you can get onto the pickleball courts and execute this shot with ease. This video is sponsored by Centerline Athletics. These are my new favorite pickleball clothes. Designed for and by pickleballers, this is the best pickleball apparel on the market today. Their t-shirts are ultra breathable with a mesh fabric that keeps you cool and dry. With UV protection, these are going to keep you safe from all the harmful UV rays while you're on the courts. Their game-changing grip tech technology keeps your hands dry during extensive play when you're sweating a lot on the courts. Use code BK20 at centerlineathletics.com to get yours now. Now, before we dive into the specific mechanics of this shot, let's talk about the grip. For this shot, you want to have either a continental or eastern grip on your handle. So a continental grip is basically you're going to take that paddle, stick it out in front of your body, and simply shake hands with the paddle. This is going to be your continental grip where you're able to hammer down on the paddle with the side. Now the eastern grip is going to have one bevel rotation to the left where that face is now a little bit more closed. So in a continental grip, you have that face directly perpendicular, whereas that eastern grip, you're going to go one bevel to the left, turn your paddle, and now it's going to be a little more closed. Either of these grips will help you hit the shot with ease, so try to use either a continental or eastern grip on this shot. Now, once you have the grip in place, let's dive into the setup for this shot. To set up for this shot, the first thing you want to establish is your base. So with your base, you're going to bend the knees and try to stay square onto the court. Don't angle yourself either way. It's a habit that I see a lot of people do on backhand volleys where they punch and turn their body away. For this shot, you want to be square onto the court, square on with your feet, and bend the knees so you can reach out in front for this flick and maximize your reach for this shot. Next, you want your paddle tip to face down on this shot. You want to start with the wrist cocked in with your paddle tip facing down at that 6 o'clock position, so you can now come up and roll with that flick shot that we're trying to get. Once you have your paddle tip down, make sure to bend the elbow a little bit so your paddle stays inside the body so that you have the ability to extend and leverage the power on the flick. Don't start with your arm fully extended, because if you start with your arm fully extended, there's nowhere for this arm to go to push forward, so you're gonna lose out on a lot of power and plow through with this shot. If you are enjoying the content, make sure to subscribe to the channel below. It does help us support the channel a lot. You can subscribe right down here to BK Pickleball so we can continue putting out more great content for you. The next step for the shot is the swing path. Once we have our setup in place with the paddle tip facing down and that elbow just tucked in a little bit, flared outward, the first thing that you want to do is extend the elbow with the tricep. So you're almost going to push out with this elbow and the tricep generating the power and plow through for this shot. So you're going to start elbow tucked in, paddle tip facing down, and you're basically going to extend the elbow with the tricep. As you do this, at the same time, you're going to turn your forearm with the wrist so your paddle tip goes from that 6 o'clock position to the 12 o'clock position. These two motions have to happen at the exact same time. So the paddle starts at 6 o'clock with a bent elbow, and as you're extending the elbow, your forearm and wrist are going to turn to that 12 o'clock position, and that's going to give you that flick motion that you see from players like Ben Johns. The next thing we're going to focus on is the contact point. Now, the contact point for this shot is extremely important. The point of contact for this shot should be in between your setup and the maximum extension of your elbow. So basically, you don't want to make contact while your arm is still fully tucked in And you also don't want to make contact once the arm is fully extended out. You want to be able to plow through the ball on this shot. So make sure that you're making contact in between that motion where you're extending the elbow. So basically it should look a little something like this. You're going to extend the elbow, make contact with the ball, and go through the ball to extend on this flick, and that's going to help you generate the maximum power for this shot with that topspin from that 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock wrist position. Now, a couple things to make sure on the shot is, one, do not allow your arm to extend past the plane of your body and open up all the way. I see a lot of people trying to hit flicks where they extend the arm and finish with the paddle way behind them. This is going to make it very hard for you to be in place for that second counter if your opponent gets the ball back. So make sure that when you're hitting this flick, you finish out in front of your body and your shoulder doesn't extend past the neutral, so you're ready to hit this flick and immediately come back for the second counter. So you want to hit the flick and be ready for the second shot as it comes back. The other thing you want to make sure not to do is don't allow the wrist to get past the neutral when you're hitting this shot. You want to start with the wrist cocked in, and as you're hitting the shot, the wrist can come all the way up to that neutral point, but you don't want that wrist opening up. Once this wrist opens, that's where you lose control of the ball, and you'll see a lot of those balls pop up and out because of that wrist position. So when you're setting up for the shot, you want to come in with that wrist cocked in and that paddle tip down here at that 6 o'clock position, and as you're hitting that shot and following through, don't allow that wrist to break the neutral and open up. You want to present the backhand side of the paddle to your opponent at all times. Don't allow that paddle to flip and now present the forehand side. That's what causes a lot of those pop-ups in the game. So a quick overview of this shot. One, the setup. Make sure you have your wrist cocked in and that paddle tip facing down. Bend the elbow so you have room to leverage for the plow through. And now your swing path is going to come through with the extension of the elbow while twisting your forearm and wrist from that 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock position all together. And lastly, don't allow that paddle to open up and go to the other side of your body. Put it all together and it should look a little something like this. Now, if you're enjoying the content, make sure to subscribe below to BK Pickleball. Also follow me at BK_Pickleball on Instagram. Put out a lot of great content on there as well. Comment below what other videos you'd like to see. Make sure to like and share this video with your friends. And until next time, I'll see you later.